Ooh, it's windy. Well, hello, my friends. Dr. J here. I hope you're going to be able to hear me. I have the wind screen on the microphone, but it is extremely windy here, so yeah, that was me doing that. Nonetheless, I'm at Virginia Beach. There has been a lot going on for me in the last like 6 months for sure. There's been a lot really coming up for me in the last couple of weeks as I'm dealing with some stuff, some fallout from my mom's passing about a year ago. But I've kind of made a decision to, over the last week and a half or 2 weeks, I told myself that as I got to this point right here, and going through the tunnel, that on the other side of the tunnel, that I was going to make some shifts. And over the last week, I've been a lot more engaged, in life, a lot more engaged in goal-directed activities, and that's a good thing. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but to give you a little idea of where I'm at right now, again, just outside of Norfolk, Virginia, on Virginia Beach, it is insanely windy here. There's a couple of windsurfers here, but you can see around me, there ain't really anybody hanging on the beach. Now, I don't know, I suspect, you know, obviously different times of the year, more so than others, but this is a very windy area, and I was told where I'm headed to anticipate a lot of wind. Just a little bit south of me is Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which is like this a lot. So I anticipate this area being very windy quite often, or having a good amount of wind from time to time. And again, where I'm headed, actually just in Quinby, Virginia, just on the other side of the tunnel/bridge, I will certainly probably experience quite a bit of wind. And over this next week, as I'm not exactly sure what's going on with my motorbike, I'll probably just be hanging out, working on the website, working on videos, and pushing some things out. But I did want to share where I'm at mentally, emotionally, kind of stuff, and also share where I'm at physically. So in literally about 10 minutes time, I'm going to experience the tunnel bridge. Now, I did go through a shorter one, a smaller one, just a short time ago. But let me see if I can show you a little bit. It might be kind of tough to see, but nonetheless, here's where I'm headed. You can see out here just off in the distance, probably can't see it on the camera, but I could see a big truck kind of driving over there. That is a bridge that goes for what appears to be maybe 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile. And then it just ends. And you can see a ship coming through in the middle. You could see a couple of ships look like it's coming in. And this is Norfolk, Virginia. I mean, this is where the largest, we're basically the Atlantic fleet for the Navy comes in and out of here, like a huge shipping port comes in and out of here. And it's so busy, they couldn't really do anything with a bridge. They used to have a ferry, you know, maybe 80 to 100 years ago, they had a ferry system there. I think about 100 years ago, they had ferries going back and forth with cars, and that lasted for maybe about 40 years or so, and then they had to do something different, and this is when they first created the tunnel system, and they've expanded it since then. I think in the 60s up until the 80s, they actually went from 1 lane to 2 lane, if I remember from reading the website. But nonetheless, I don't know that you could see it on the screen. And if I, let's see, zoom in a little bit, I might be able to get it a little bit better. But literally, the bridge just goes and then it ends. And then you could see maybe, it's hard to tell the distance because it's pretty far away, but I can clearly see where the bridge ends and then starts again as the cars go into the tunnel and then come out on the other side. Pretty cool stuff for sure. Nothing, I've never experienced anything like this. Certainly been through some tunnels before, but nothing where you're literally going under ocean. Nonetheless, I'm actually really excited to experience this. I will add, by the way, it's a little on the pricey side. This portion right here is $16 to go across the bay. So a rather large toll, 16 bucks to go on there. I assume it's going to be $16 for 2 axles. I don't know if I'm going to get an extra fee for being in the van, but I assume trucks and things like that, if you've got 3 axles or more, you're probably going to pay a larger fee. But it should be fun. I'll share some more of my day as I progress up to Quniby, and here we go in the tunnel. I've been dealing with some stuff over the last few months that has made it really difficult for me to stay focused and stay engaged in goal-directed activities.
Use the right lane to take the US 13 North ramp.
And in the last couple of weeks, it occurred to me, it's like, you know, your area of specialty is diagnostics, and ironically, you're fitting the diagnostic criterion for depression, dumbass. And so I think it's not anything new. It's just I really needed to tell myself repeatedly over and over again that you're struggling with some stuff. It's completely normal. It's totally appropriate for losing your mother, especially after being her primary caregiver. It's taken a while for it to fully set in. I think for the first few months, I was in a good space, and then it had a little bit, and then, you know, I was with some friends for a while, and then, you know, I was by myself for a minute, and then over the holidays, you know, I was around a lot of people, and then starting, you know, the end of January, beginning of February, I was more on my own, and then was in some areas where it was extremely cold. Gotta pay attention for a minute. And I was stuck in the van a lot. And unfortunately, I was kind of down in the dumps a lot of the times. I'm pretty excited. I got an Easy Pass. I got the Uni. It's called Uni. It's available on Amazon. I'll put the link down in the description. And the benefit of it is it plugs into Easy Pass, and it's good in a large number of states. I think like 15 or 20 states. I'm thinking, it sounds like they have plans to expand. There's some technology hurdles, and the reason why people can't universally just use their one pass everywhere. And so this type of pass, I guess, is more universal, and it's plugging into a lot of different networks, which is pretty awesome. As I just drove up and paid my $16 toll. So you're going to get to actually experience the bridge with me. I've shared with a few people that I was going to be going on this, quote, bridge tunnel, and I didn't fully understand what it meant by bridge tunnel. Now I do. It's a very large bay crossing, and they obviously don't need a tunnel for the entire portion, just big enough where you can get large tankers and military ships, you know, naval ships and things like that going through there. And so there's a large portion that's actually a tunnel. And I'm crossing from Virginia Beach, kind of Norfolk area, across the bay to, well, the place that I'm going toward is Quniby. It's not actually that far. I'm about 60 miles away from my destination. Here we go. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there's construction going on in the other tunnel right now, because I believe there is 2 lanes for each way, and I'll have to go back to the website and read up on that, because I wasn't expecting 2 tunnels. It was really caught me off guard earlier. So it seems like you could benefit from having 2 lanes here, although I don't know. I don't suspect that this is a regular, every people commuting back and forth every single day, and maybe there are some folks that do that, but I would suspect that this is more largely the kind of thing where people occasionally go from one side to the other, or trucks go to the one side. I mean, there's obviously traffic going back and forth, but I don't think it's a regular commuter run. So, to put everybody's mind at ease, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was about a mile worth of tunnel that you are underwater. Okay, so yeah, I can see that there is another tunnel as I'm coming out. There is a tunnel on the other side, so I don't know if that's a recent expansion, and maybe the other tunnel that I was on had 2 lanes going each way. So as I shared, the tunnel experience wasn't that overwhelming. Now, actually, as I look at it now, there's another tunnel coming up, it looks like. So I just assumed it was one big giant shipping lane that went in the middle. So apparently there is 2 shipping lanes, and it looks like I'm coming up to what would be the 3rd tunnel. Here we go again. Chesapeake Channel Tunnel. I guess my Starlink won't work here, right? Satellite radio kicked off. Shocker. All right, and we're popping out again. And I would say, depending on where you measure, that is about a half a mile. I don't know where you would actually measure, kind of like from here to the other side at this point. About a half a mile when you're traveling underwater. Now, I'm not sure, there might be another section where we pop underwater, because this is quite a long section. And so this is what we was talking about was, I believe, 17 miles in total. So I don't think that first tunnel that I went through was part of the, quote, 17-mile stretch. Maybe it is. Again, I'll have to do a little bit more. I'll go back to the website and read up about it a little bit. This says mile 11, so maybe this section is just 17 miles on its own. When you go to the website and you read it, I was like, wow, a 17-mile tunnel underwater, that seems pretty crazy, but it's actually just portions. So my emotional space has not been what I wanted, and I think I'd struggled with this for quite some time, and it's certainly helping as a clinician and a professor. It's certainly helping me to have a better understanding of depression as a whole. I remember being in a workshop a number of years ago, a suicide workshop, and the facilitator of the workshop was talking about how he became a suicide specialist, that his wife had died, and he talked about how there was a period of time when a lot of people was around, and as people started to move back into their lives and do their things, and he found himself alone, he fell into a deep state of depression, and he said there was a point in time where he hit that suicide just made sense to him, that he was in so much pain and at such depth that he was, for the first time, it's like the light bulb went on and he understood it. Now, I'm not saying I'm anywhere close to that, but I think for the first time in my life, I experienced and am experiencing, what legitimate hard depression is. And that hitting that has been difficult for me to wrap my brain around and really hard to understand. But now that I'm here and see it and I'm reflecting on it, I get it. I get it on a deeper level. And it's been hard for me to acknowledge that space. And over the last 10 to 15 days, I finally hit a point where I said to myself, you just have to really acknowledge the space you're in. You have to acknowledge that this is what's going on for you. And that, kind of like many things in life, admitting that you have a problem, right? Admitting that you're in that space is part of the recovery process. And so I think that is one of the things that I was having some challenges with. It's hard to be a clinician and have a diagnosis, and I know many people do. It's hard to be an individual who's teaching this stuff on a regular basis, who teaches diagnostics to clinical students, and to face the fact that I'm dealing with some of the things that we're literally talking about in the class. Ironically, when I'm teaching and I'm coaching and I'm in front of students and I'm working with people, it's like everything just goes away. And I'm able to just completely put myself into the space, into that teaching space. But there are these times when I'm hanging out and by myself where it's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. So this travel lifestyle has been great, and what has been something that I'm not so excited about, and I'm shifting gears a little bit, is in how I'm traveling. And so I'm looking at stepping up to a towable, to a trailer. I've been back and forth about what to do and how to approach this, and should I just get a bigger, like a Class C, which essentially would be a van with a larger box in the back where I have just a little bit more space, and that would be nice. Had I started with that, I think I'd have been okay. But it was really difficult spending a few weeks. I got through December, I got into January and thought, okay, the worst of the cold is behind me, and then the cold came back, and then it got warm for like a week. It was beautiful outside, people wearing shorts, and then it got super cold again. And that was really difficult. So travel is absolutely my thing, and I knew that my healing would really begin once I got out here. I just didn't anticipate that. It's just kind of weird because, in the beginning I was really down and, kind of in it, so to speak, and then I wasn't so much. And then, I'd have these little pockets here and there, but again, the last couple of months have been hard. They really have. And there's been a lot of times when I've just had a really difficult time doing a whole heck of a lot. Again, I'm active and engaged work-wise, but beyond the work stuff, it's been really hard. And part of that has been not having the motorbike has been a big challenge for me. Now, I did spend some time in Washington, D.C., and that was awesome. And again, I was hitting museums and going around, and I was riding an e-bike, and you know, kind of just bopping around and doing my own thing, and that really helped out a lot. But when I'm kind of alone with my thoughts, especially for an extended period of time, is when I'm noticing that things just kind of creep in. Trying to share a little bit of the roadside experience with you. One of the things that people had shared with me along the way is a lot of meeting people and asking me where I'm going, and as I kind of tell them, it was shared with me that once I go through the tunnel and get up here, that, you know, the scenery was going to change, the beach was going to change, a lot of things are going to be very different as I start getting up into this part of the country, ultimately in and around, you know, New Jersey, New York, kind of coming up around into Massachusetts. Everything was going to be quite diverse, and it has been. And I have to say, you drive up the West Coast, you know, through California, there's a lot of beaches kind of in the southern section of California. When you get up into kind of mid-California, there's still a number of beaches, a little more rocky. In Northern California, it's even a little bit rockier, but, you know, there's a lot of beaches. There's a lot of different diversity in that arena as well, but it's vastly different on the East Coast for sure. And I think in every state it's been different. And there's some states like there's not a whole lot of beach, and when you get to the beach, it's nothing like I anticipated. So I had the camera off for about 20-25 minutes of the journey. I did stop and pick up a couple of things, but I turned in to go to the campground, and it went through the town of Quinby, which is which is where it's at. And I was surprised that I essentially had to make a U-turn and drive down this path for what I still have is about 4 more miles. But it is a very, very nice path. I'm not far away from the coastline, and this campground that I'm at looks to be in a super cool location, so I'm excited about that. But it's definitely set back quite a ways, but on the beach. So I'm driving through, again, I'm just literally, I think, to the left of the screen, about a quarter of a mile is coastline. I don't know what that coastline looks like, but there's water out there. I mean, it's ocean water. Wow, there is a lot of them. Now, here's something kind of comical. I wonder if those are geese. What's the difference between it's like a goose and a gander? Oh, there's a little baby. Mama and dad and little baby. So, funny little side note, I in December, January, where I was staying, there was a pond there with a number of ducks that were there, and I was feeding them some bread a couple times. I'm like, probably not supposed to, really feed them bread. So I bought a big 10-pound bag of like a duck feed, and I've not seen any ducks since. And so I'm actually kind of excited. I've been carrying this around. I'm like, I just want to get rid of this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to throw it away. But certainly it's pretty cool to be in a place like this. The sign that I passed said this is actually a nature sanctuary. And so I was actually thinking before I got here, the thing that I'm about to affirm, this is definitely going to be one of those times when I wished I would have planned to stay longer. It's really nice here. And yeah, the ocean is just right over there. So I'm going to get to park very close to the beach, and this is going to be an awesome place to stay. This is one of the things I was talking about earlier. It's really tough to map this out. You don't know. There's some places that I stayed, they were nice, but out in the middle of nowhere and not a lot to see and do. And this, sadly, is one of those places where I could easily stay here for 3 weeks, and unfortunately I only booked 6 nights. I can look into the possibility of extending my stay. The flip side of it is I have to cut some days off my time up in New Jersey on the Jersey Shore. So it's like this balance thing. My time is like mapped out and planned out for a long time, and that's one of the things that's come up for me is I should have gone a lot slower and maybe planned not so much to go all the way to Maine, although I was really excited and wanted to see it all, right? So I'm trying to get a little bit of it and spend a little more time in a few areas I've maybe been to on the way back down. And then who knows, maybe I'll kind of come up this way again, but just either go north very rapidly, over a few days into some of the more northeast states, and then, then I can spend 3 weeks at each location, because it's really hard to see it all. Yeah, so this is definitely one of those times when I have planned to stay kind of a short time. I think just 6 nights I'm here, when maybe I should have planned to stay here quite a bit longer, because this is my full hookup campsite. That is the beach. So there is actually like a jetty out there. So there is actually a strip way out there. I think you basically have to take a boat out there, but essentially it's just kind of an inlet right here. And nice little shore. I don't know if I would say, quote, beach, but definitely a shoreline out there, and just a really amazing place. Now, given that I could see a large number of empty sites, it is very likely I could extend my stay, but the challenge again that I have is if I extend here, I have to cut my time short or skip the next location that I'm at. I mean, I can explore my options, and I don't know, the next place that I go to could be this nice or nicer, but this is definitely one of those ones that I hope to come back to when I book correctly and spend more times. Now, down the road a little bit where the cabins are looked like they were closer to the water, and it looked like there was more of maybe a, quote, beachy area out there. This doesn't look like someplace that you can, I might be able to walk out there a little bit, but certainly just a lot of dirt, a lot of mud, a lot of soft soil going out there. I do see a number of small birds out there. So as I said, my commitment to myself is to push myself out of the shell that I've been in for the last several weeks, and be a little more outwardly focused in terms of goal-directed activities, exploring some things. Unfortunately, I don't have the bike, but I'm okay. I frankly don't think I want to leave here until I have to physically leave and go. I think I have enough food. I think this is, I think I'm actually good. I might be eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches by the time I leave, but yeah, I think I should be good food-wise until I get out of here. I just stocked up, and I feel like I'm pretty good, and I might not literally have to leave here at all. It is certainly one of those times when having a scooter would be very beneficial, because it is about 4 miles to anything. And when I say anything, it's like just a small little, tiny town. There's some grocery stores maybe 7-8 miles out. So certainly I could, run out and get something, but I think I'll do just fine here. But this will be a great place to hang out and reflect over the next couple of days. So I promise to be a little more diligent in putting video content out there, pushing things out. I'm actually going to produce this and push it up and have it posted tonight, because I think it's time to come out of my shell and be a little more active and engaged, a little more animated as well. So I hope you'll continue to join me on this journey. It's been just kind of a day in the life where I'm just, this was moving day. Moving day was moving from Williamsburg to Quinby, Virginia, of all places, but it is absolutely beautiful out here. So Dr. J, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and follow me, share me with your friends, and I hope you got something a little bit out of this journey of nomadic reflections. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.